3rd of May 1969, the Artistic Heritage Protection Unit of the Carabinieri was born. The first police force in the world specialized in combating crimes against the cultural heritage. A tireless struggle which has rendered excellent results. From 1969 until today, numerous archaeological finds have been taken out of the underground market, antique treasures recuperated, and art forgeries seized. Breathtaking figures which crown years of relentless battles to safeguard a gallery of priceless masterpieces. The Carabinieri, for the protection of cultural heritage, operate under the functional direction of the Minister of Cultural Heritage and Activities and Tourism. This link, unique in the world of its kind, places the department at the center of a network of activities which accompany the more traditional police activities. The Carabinieri, in fact, collaborate with the superintendencies in the protection of the cultural heritage. They also offer advice for security on museum collections, archives, monumental and archaeological sites. The Carabinieri also collaborate in research projects with universities and scientific institutes, such as the National Research Council. Every day, men and women of the command, always in close synergy with all the components of the Carabinieri force, carry out preventive and security services on the Italian cultural heritage, so multifaceted, rich and widespread that it must be kept under constant control, such as the archaeological areas which are traditionally exposed to the attack of clandestine diggers. The continuous monitoring is carried out from the sky, on the ground, and at sea. The command, headquartered in the capital, directly coordinates the operative department of Rome, which deals with wide-ranging and highly complex investigations at national and international level. For greater effectiveness, the operations department in Rome is divided into 3 different sections: archaeology, antiques, contemporary art and forgery. One of the strong points of the Cultural Heritage Protection Command is its articulation across the Italian territory in 15 units, coordinated nationwide by a group commander. The units have regional or interregional competence, and a section for Eastern Italy has been added to them. From Friuli to Sardinia, from Piedmont to Sicily, the command has steadily increased its capillary territorial presence through the years, as exemplified recently by the inauguration of the new units of Cagliari, Udine, and Perugia. Rome, too, has a unit with specific territorial competence. And of recent institution, within the command, the Training and Study section, that follows the training activities that are increasingly being requested on the part of other countries. In more than 40 years of activity, the command, thanks to the work of the 3 sections of the operative department, territorial units, has achieved remarkable results. In fact, there have been numerous cultural assets recovered and taken out of the hands of crime. The command carries out numerous operations in the protection of the landscape and in the prevention of aggressive criminal acts in places of culture. Due to the richness of its archaeological heritage, Italy has always been plagued by the scourge of illegal excavations, an activity which leads to the irreversible destruction of archaeological contexts and their scientific knowledge. For decades, this scourge has been encouraged by a ruthless international market and an economic flow that has been truly astounding. Thanks to the investigative activities, this situation, however, has been radically changed in recent years. The criminal system has been reconstructed in its capillary structure and, to a large extent, dismantled. The warehouses of large international traffickers have been searched. Thousands of stolen artifacts have been confiscated, and a considerable quantity of documents has ended up in the hands of Italian investigators. Thanks also to the consultancy of the experts of the superintendents, it has been demonstrated that some important collectors and prestigious museums around the world had acquired archaeological relics stolen in Italy by means of illegal excavations, and the Ministry of Cultural Heritage and Activities and Tourism has been able to demand their restitution. Even in the field of antiquity, the command continues to work against crime and for the protection of cultural heritage. Each year, tens of thousands of goods, including paintings, sculptures, books and archive documents, coins, cabinetry and goldsmiths' works, are recovered and returned to the community. In recent times, the recovery of the 17 masterpieces stolen in 2015 from the Museum of Castelvecchio in Verona, Rubens, Mantegna, Pisanello, Tintoretto, have been able to return to the city after an absence of more than a year. The command has been present for some time on the international scene in military missions of peacekeeping. The men of the command have been operating in Iraq, where the preservation of the archaeological heritage has required the controlling of many very important historic areas, under devastating attack of the clandestine excavators. Numerous appeals for the preservation of cultural heritage in areas of international crisis have prompted the Italian government to become a promoter of the institution of the Blue Helmets of Culture. In essence, this is a task force of experts composed of Carabinieri and of MIBACT technicians. To these are added experts from the Ministry of Education, University and Research, and by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation. Together they will intervene in areas affected by emergencies of any nature, man-made crisis or natural disasters, in a security frame. Thus, they will be able to support the authorities of the countries which request assistance in preserving archaeological sites, places of culture, and cultural heritage, in combating the international trafficking of cultural goods unlawfully removed, in preparing measures to limit the risks that a crisis or emergency may have on the cultural heritage of a nation. On October the 16th, 2015, with the approval by the UNESCO Executive Council of the resolution presented by Italy, the Unity for Heritage Task Force was created. On the 16th of February 2016 in Rome, UNESCO and the Italian government signed a historic agreement. Italy is the first country in the world to provide the international community with a group of professionals consisting of Carabinieri and MIBACT staff, the Blue Helmets of Culture. This group of experts has already worked to safeguard the cultural assets at risk after the earthquakes that struck central Italy in 2016. Italy has one of the richest artistic and cultural heritages in the world. This treasure can be protected, moreover, by a fundamental preventive action: its cataloguing and its knowledge. Without visual evidence, it is easy for stolen works to disappear forever in the labyrinth of the illicit market. For some time now, the Carabinieri have invited the owners of works of art to provide each object with a sort of identity card, the object ID, a summary sheet with photos which will allow, in case of theft, for a surer means of search. But when a cultural item is taken away from our heritage, a fundamental investigation tool comes into action: the database of unlawfully removed cultural assets. This gigantic computer archive is the result of the work carried out systematically by the men of the Cultural Heritage Protection Command for over the last 40 years. An archive unique in the world, which is being continually updated. This archive contains the information on more than 1,200,000 assets to be searched for, with over 600,000 images. And there are over 6,200,000 works of art which over time have been objects to be controlled. And today the relative information continues to be kept in the database contents. Thanks to this immense visual catalogue, in which every stolen object is filed with all the information possible, the investigators can constantly compare and update their research. Today, the database, thanks to innovative computer programs, is one of the most flexible and powerful of investigative tools. With the semi-automatic image comparison, the screening of hundreds of similar works can occur in real time. Part of the databank is available at www.carabinieri.it, and anyone can access more than 22,000 cultural assets to be searched for. In addition, the Command for the Protection of Cultural Heritage has created the ITPC application unique in the world in its sector. Anyone can download ITPC on their smartphone or tablet and verify, among other options offered, if a work of art is sought after. The photograph taken by the user and loaded in the app, in fact, can be automatically compared with those present in the public interface of the database by any citizen in any part of the world. Thanks to the efficiency of its database, the Command for the Protection of Cultural Heritage has been a leader in the project SICE, Protection System for the Cultural Heritage, aimed at updating and implementation of the Interpol database of stolen works of art. The project, guided by Italy, was signed by 15 European states. It allows the standardization and automation of the exchange of information on stolen works of art. It aims to search for a more rapid and effective fight against international trafficking of cultural goods. The database is an essential tool of investigation, especially for those works that are not universally known, like the great masterpieces of art history, and which risk getting lost in generic categories, full of apparently undifferentiated objects. How does one trace a particular mass chalice or a crucifix among hundreds of similar items without having an adequate photographic or documentary support? Every day, the investigators monitor catalogues of auctions and exhibitions and websites, new areas in continuous expansion in the illegal market. It is a research which requires patience and persistence, because it's very unlikely indeed that a stolen item will immediately return in circulation, but often perseverance is rewarded. Thanks to the extensive experience accumulated by the Cultural Heritage Protection Command, today Italy is recognized as a world leader combating crime against the cultural heritage and its safeguarding. Latin America, the Far East, Eastern Europe, Africa and Asia. Many countries have requested the command to be able to study the Italian model and to activate training courses for their police. But the Carabinieri's training and didactic engagement does not stop here. To better protect the immense ecclesiastical cultural heritage, the Command has published, in agreement with the Pontifical Council for Culture of the Holy See, a handbook distributed all the world over, rich in information and advice for those responsible for the custody of the assets. The Command has also created, with ICOM, the International Museums Council, and MIBACT, a guide to prevention and security in museums. Moreover, the Cultural Heritage Protection Carabinieri continue to work for the raising of awareness, with participation in events and conventions of the sector. Frequent are the engagements in schools and the activity of dissemination through lessons and meetings with students. Finally, a fundamental role is played by their exhibition activity. Exhibitions organized by the Carabinieri not only permit Italian and foreign citizens to enjoy masterpieces that they feared forever lost, but they are indispensable vehicles for spreading the culture of legality. Among the most recent are the exhibition at the Palazzo del Quirinale, the Museum of Ancient Art of Palazzo Barberini, and the Galleries of the Uffizi. The Cultural Heritage Protection Command has in recent years received numerous awards, attest to the importance of the work it carries out. On March the 25th, the President of the Republic conferred on the Command the Gold Medal for its services to culture and art. But an even more important recognition took place on the 29th of May 2015, when the Gold Medal was conferred for the same merits to the Carabinieri Army flag. The cultural goods recovered by the command during its prestigious history constitute an immense patrimony, which could in itself constitute a museum unique in the world. But it would be of little importance that this museum were formed by celebrated masterpieces or small unknown objects created by great masters or by lesser-known artists with precious or humble materials. What does matter is that the works, which seemed forever lost, return to their places of origin as fundamental testimonies to our collective identity. Like family members who return home after a long absence to continue the dialogue with us, to tell their stories and allow our stories to unfold in reflection. And this is the real treasure that the Carabinieri Command for the Protection of Cultural Heritage has been protecting ever since its creation.